Another important function of the QHOS system is the option to view a summary of your logs. Let's take a look at how this works. There are several different ways to view a summary of your logs. You can use the Summary tab, Clocks tab, Graph tab, Daylog tab, or 8 Days tab. The Summary tab displays the time remaining on your 8-hour rest break, 11, 14, and 70-hour clocks. The first is the 8-hour rest break clock, which shows your available on-duty time until you must take a 30-minute consecutive break. When you're off-duty, whether on SB, off, or off DRV status, for less than 30 minutes, and you change to on-duty, either on or DRV, with less than 2 hours remaining on the 8-hour rest break clock, a warning appears with the time required to complete the rest break. You are not notified when the 30-minute rest break is complete. However, you can look at the 8-hour rest break clock to see when it's reset. The second is the 11-hour clock, which shows your available drive time for the day. However, your actual drive time may be less if one of the other clocks has less time remaining. Third is the 14-hour clock, which shows your available on-duty time for the current day. The last is the 70-hour clock, which shows your available on-duty time for the current 8-day cycle. Your actual available on-duty time is the lesser of the times remaining on the 14-hour and 70-hour clocks. The Clock tab allows you to check your remaining hours under the US, Canada Main, and Canada North rule sets. The green check mark indicates the rule set you're currently using. To change the rule set, tap the Region button at the bottom of the screen. Under the Region field, select either the US, Canada Main, or Canada North rule set. Choose the format in which you want the date displayed. Finally, pick whether you want the distance displayed in miles or kilometers. Once you've selected your desired preferences, tap the OK button at the bottom of the screen. Werner will always audit under the US Hours of Service rule set. Therefore, you'll continue to receive log violations if you're in violation of the U.S. Hours of Service rules. You're also able to view a summary of your logs in graphic form by tapping the Graph tab. An orange border around the blue bar indicates the current duty status. A red border signifies that the duty status occurred during a system or sensor failure. If this happens, you'll receive a notification that there was an error. You should keep paper logs and contact the logs department and your fleet manager until notified that the problem has been resolved. A dark blue border indicates a daylight savings time overlap. The Graph tab also shows your current status, duration of that status, and when you started that status. You can view a summary of your logs for previous days by tapping on the arrows above the graph. To review the details for each status, tap the horizontal bar. The Daylog tab shows all your duty status changes over the past 24 hours. All the times shown here are in Central Standard Time. You can use the arrow keys at the top to scroll through previous day's records. You may also use the arrows on the side to scroll down through all the duty status changes for that day. The most recent status change is at the top of the screen. However, it doesn't show the current duty status that you're on. A green checkmark appears before each approved record. A red exclamation point precedes each record collected when there was a system or sensor failure. The location field displays the GPS location of the vehicle when the activity began. You can view the remarks or notes of a duty status by selecting the duty status and then tapping the Remarks button at the bottom of the screen. The 8 Days tab provides an 8-day recap of your logs. The Date field indicates a specific date within the current 8-day cycle. The Mileage field shows you the miles driven during that specified date for the active driver. The Driving field tells you the total time spent driving, or Line 3 time, for the specified date. And the On-Duty field provides the total on-duty time, or Line 3 and Line 4 time for the specified date. From the 8-Day tab, you can manually request a log update for approval by tapping the Log Request button at the bottom of the screen. There may be times when you're stopped by DOT and the officer wants to review your logs. There are 2 different ways to do this. 1. You can hand the officer the DOT Quick Reference Card, which provides step-by-step instructions on how to review your logs directly from the unit. Or, if the officer wants a hard copy, you can get this from the 8 Days tab. Tap the Fax button at the bottom of the screen. The Fax Request screen appears, which allows you to enter the fax information for the DOT officer. Type the officer's fax number in. Then type the officer's name in the Attention field. Select the region of the DOT office from the drop-down menu in the Region field. Finally, tap the Request button to fax your logs. There's also a QHOS website for drivers that allows you to view, save, and/or print your hours of service log records. To view your current logs or print out your quarterly log records, go to https://dhos.myqualcomm.com/dhm/. Once you're on the website, type Werner Enterprises in the company name field. In the driver ID field, enter the same driver ID that you use on your MCP 200, which is the letter D followed by your employee number. In the password field, enter the same password you use on your MCP 200, which is the last 6 digits of your Social Security number. In the last name field, enter your last name. Finally, click the Login button. From the Home tab, you can view your current duty status, which includes the start time of the status, the last update, and the duration of the current status. You can also view a summary of your 8, 11, 14, and 70-hour clocks. The Report tab allows you to save and/or print your log records. As of third quarter of 2013, you need to save or print your quarterly log records from the Reports tab on the Hours of Service website. Werner no longer mails them out. To save or print your log records, select a date range in the Date Range field. Next, select the log format you want to view your records in by choosing USA or Canada from the drop-down menu. Finally, click Run Report to generate your log records. Your log records are created as an Adobe file. Once this file appears, you can click Print or Save.